You all had a great weekend. We are back 6 p.m. Monday doing our thing. We are welcoming all of your questions. Simon's been away playing. You had a close near miss yesterday.
Yeah, story of my year.
Yeah.
Bridesmaid. A very good final of a scratch knockout, went to extra holes. Yeah.
Never mind. Oh well, nobody died. Well, as usual, we're taking all your questions. We're just streaming on Precision Golf's channel tonight, so any golf coaching questions, fire them over there too. And we will crack straight in because we get lots of questions now. So if you are looking to get your question answered even, make sure you get it in nice and early. So let's start ourselves off with Pero Mark. There's a bit in the middle, but Pero DJE Mark 7987. Hello, all good. VA Composites launches Badass Gold. Would be nice to see you reviewing that shaft. Thoughts on drive ahead from 14DX001-4?
So Badass Gold demos are on their way. They're actually hopefully shipping today, so we'll get those soon. The 14 drivers, thoughts on it? Well, they've got 4 models. They've got a low spin weight forward, a draw bias, and then so they've got 4 different series. Thoughts are literally only got the base information on it, I think sent over either Friday or this morning. So very, very recent, even we're just sort of seeing it about it. And just working out how we can potentially find a way of getting those tested with our Connect system here. So there's a new iron head coming out that we're getting in as well. I think they're meant to be very light heads, but certainly what I read up on the DX heads, the new drive heads, is that they're lightweight. So it's how light and whether that actually means we've then got to weight them up, and does that change the performance? These are all things that we'll hopefully try and test out. And if we can make them compatible with what the system we use, then we'll do so.
Brilliant. Papa Bear 2026. Hi gents, good evening Papa Bear. Can Simon hit the 440 max and the LST from Ping? Feedback for 100 mile an hour driver swing speed for these. Thoughts on new 440 10K just leaked on the PJ conforming list.
So it isn't actually going to be called a 10K because if you change the back weight, it doesn't become 10K if you make it lighter. So, but there is a Ping driver launching next year, but I can't tell you anything about it, even though I've seen it and hit it, because embargoes, I'm afraid. But you know, it is. That hit is coming, yeah, we'll, as soon as we're allowed to say anything about it, we will. Yeah, but I'll grab the other couple of heads now.
Super duper. Morvs 6191. Hey Simon, I switched from a Denali Black to a Diamana TB per your recommendation. However, the one I was able to find is a 60S, but was tipped an inch. It has been good, but having launch issues. That's one of 2. And then he goes on to say there are several Tensei AV or 1K blues available. Would this be a similar feel, I assume, question mark? And if I go stiff, non-tipped, will that help with launch? Or should I also look to the 55 gram instead of 60 gram? Crikey, you've fitted a lot in there.
I'm not sure I can remember all of that.
Well, let's start off. Let's go the first half. He's got a Denali Black. It's been tipped an inch, but he's having launch issues. Could the tipping be a problem? Yes or no?
It's not going to change flight.
Okay,
no.
so that's that. Tensei AV 1K blues are available. Would this be a similar feel to the one he's got? To the Denali Black?
The AV is going to feel softer. Okay. Structurally, the materials aren't quite as high grade, and the Black's a stiffer tip. So the AV will definitely feel a little bit more responsive.
And if I go stiff, non-tipped, will that help with launch?
The theory is without tipping, you've got a longer parallel section, it's softer, therefore launch is a bit higher, but it's a teensy-weensy little bit. So in theory, yes. In practice, not a tangible amount, no.
He also goes on to ask, should 60 grams or 55 grams work out better?
I don't know. Depends how they swing.
Yep.
You will swing one better and time one better. Yeah, off the top of my head, I just don't know, I'm afraid.
No. Brilliant. All right, got an interesting question for Simon coming up.
Interesting. So I've got the 440 Max. Start off with that. These are both for me 9 degrees, and I will see if I can do 100 mile an hour. So it's feedback and difference in performance, I think, wasn't it? So
I'm loving the new ball station, by the way.
Yeah, it's nice, yes. Very nicely engineered. We'd Tom had a little think about it, and then Rob, our friend Rob, made them for us. So
Yeah.
a bit cleaner than the balls on the ground, and
Yeah.
at some point you might fill in the little logo on the top, but just neatens things up a little
Yeah,
bit.
that's great, isn't
Glad
it?
you like it.
That's great. That's great.
So obviously the 440 Max, very stable head, very user friendly. So one thing with the Max you're going to find is 105, a little quick, but it's like that was heeled. I didn't really feel the head twist, so it feels very, very stable at the ball. It is going to be, with the Max you've got all the weight back, lots of weight at the back of the head, so it's not the most solid feeling head, but it's very, very stable in terms of doesn't twist on a miss hit like that one, but is very much a mid-spin head. Quiet that down a little bit. So, what we've tended to see, hearing that data there, that was a fairly solid hit. I probably dropped a little bit on the contact, but the Max is very safe for spin, more of a mid-spin head, isn't necessarily the fastest on ball speed, but in terms of if you tend to hit it fairly inconsistently across the face, incredibly stable from a front-back point of view, really forgiving head. It's very, very ping in that respect. They're a really well engineered head, but very much engineered for consistency rather than necessarily being a cannon. But if you're a low spinner of the ball, definitely a head to consider. And I'm moving to the LST, so LS low spin tech. Its base, the frame weight is a little heavier than the Max. It's designed to be a little bit shorter, slightly more compact head, designed to bring the flight down a little bit, maybe a little bit less forgiving. Slightly quieter, a little bit more of a solid sound because that weight sits a bit further forward. It's not as sort of tinny as a result of that sound-wise. The head feels a bit more solid at contact. You can see their spins down. The core maybe slightly higher on the face there, but higher launch, but the spin's noticeably lower. Again, we have seen relative to other heads, these aren't the fastest. They're a couple of miles an hour down, but for a lower spin, sort of slightly lower flighted model head, very consistent across the face, but maximum forgiveness, the Max, but more moderate spin. Still pretty forgiving for a low spin head, but noticeable spin difference, and that'll feel more solid.
Super stuff. Simon Muggleton, evening Simon. I have a face to path that's open 6.1 and a club path 4.3 to the left. Also, if it's relevant, my angle of attack is down at 6.2. The question I have, shall I try to work on getting my club path first so it straight pulls and then sort the path issue, or shall I sort the path out and then square the face to path up? Hope that reads okay. Never try and work on your club path. Always work on your face to path. If you fix your face to path, then you will fix your club path. So hitting down at 6 degrees, that's probably one of the biggest errors that's causing you to hit with an open face to the path. Let me just demonstrate this for you. So yeah, there we go. So when you create, James has got the controls here. So he's got the face to path. So it's the first box, furthest box on the right-hand side. So when you're hitting more down, when you accentuate an angle of attack down, what you end up doing is leaving the face to path open. So the more we hit down, so there you go, there's 6 degrees down, there's your 6 degrees. Simon, if I was to now get rid of that, and obviously I'm hitting an iron, so it's okay. You're talking about a driver. I think did you mention driver? No, you didn't mention driver actually, did you? No, you just mentioned with your irons. So if you're 6 degrees down, sorry, I thought you mentioned driver. I don't know why we were talking drivers, but if you're 6 degrees down, it's not too bad. It's a couple too much. But if I was to now go only 0 down, angle of attack, taking angle of attack away will all of a sudden square your club path up, and it will help you shut your face to path. So you can see my club path has straightened, my face to path has become negative, and I've dropped my angle of attack down. So angle of attack is a huge component on making your face open to the path. But what you need to do is fix your face to path first. Then once you've fixed your face to path, perhaps think about reducing your angle of attack a little bit, depending on your club speed. If you've really got loads of club speed, 6 down isn't too bad. Again, depends on what club it is with, but absolutely don't go anywhere near your club path. Leave it well alone, because club paths will always recalibrate to the bend in the sky. You've never seen anyone that slices the golf ball with an inside out path, and you've rarely seen a hook of the golf ball with an outside in path. So fix the face to path, and then you'll have a much better club path. Hopefully that helps you.
So it's that chicken and egg thing when you know which one comes first, really, isn't it?
You absolutely know which one comes first, and it's definitely face to path. Hope that helps, Simon. Oh, we've lost the chat box. Where's the chat box gone? Come back, come back, come back. It's gone, it's gone, it's gone. Oh, goodness me. It's gone. There we go. Here we are. Here we are. That was last week's. Oh, no, it's not. Oh, goodness me. What's going on here? No, that was last week's one. Sorry, everyone. Talk amongst yourselves. Oh, no. Oh, no. What's going on here? We've got too many.
Right one?
That's Tour Z. It's Monday night. Okay, we're back.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that, everyone. So JBIL8802. Evening, gents. Evening, JBIL. Recently discovered my club path with irons is 4 to 6 degrees inside out. Angle of attack is 6 or 8 degrees down. Any tips or drills to neutralize these a bit? So if you've got an inside out club path, you've absolutely got yourself a really closed face to path, because as I've just mentioned, the face to path is always going to dictate your club path. So what you want to do is, first of all, check your grip. That would be a good place to start, because if you had a club path coming from the inside, and we'll relate this back to your face to path and your club path. So I'm going to produce an inside out path line, and I'm going to make the face to path pretty neutral. So inside out with a neutral face to path. So what's the path line there? The path line is inside out 8.2, and the face to path value is 0. So if I had an inside out club path at 8 degrees, but I had a face to path value at 0, you can see I would be missing my target to the right. If I did that for very much longer, what would start to happen is the golfer would start to shift his path a bit straighter and to the left to offset the fact that he's missing the ball, or she's missing the ball out to the right. So you can see I've now made my face to path 0. I've shifted my path to the left by 2 degrees, and I've now found the target a little bit straighter. So once you fix your face to path value, you will be able to re-establish a much better path. And when you re-establish a much better path, then you can shift the ball a little bit further forwards in your stance to take away a little bit of the angle of attack, and all will be well in the world.
It's a rare one to see that, though. Strong angle of attack and a strong into-out path.
It is, which tells you he's probably got a really hook face, a really hook face, yeah. So the first cut is always the deepest. What sort of weight would driver shaft would match with the DG 105 S300 as a starting point to test? Would a Mitsubishi blue or white profile work? Ideally something tip stable I find works best for me.
Yeah, so around the 60-ish gram mark. So if you like something tip stable, so the DG 105 is quite tip heavy shaft. So if you want something tip stable, in principle, the whiteboard in the 63 in a stiff or so, that would be a similar 62, 63 grams. That's going to be on the more stable side of things. And the balance sits a little bit in the lower half of it. That certainly isn't a bad start point for sure.
Best handle goes to Tractor Boy Dave. Evening, chaps. I use a Vokey M56 wedge. I use an M56 wedge, but I would like something with less bounce. Is it feasible to deloft an M58 as I like the sole profile? Pros and cons, please.
So it is possible to, but when you go from this 56 to 58, the 58 has a wider sole, and actually the bounce is higher on the 58. They call it the same. They both say they've got 8 degree bounce. It isn't the case. It is a little bit higher on the 58. The pros of doing that is you do reduce the bounce. The con of doing that is you do offset it, so it is going to look a little bit back, and you do then bring that leading edge a little bit sharper. The 58 is a heavier head as well. So it's certainly possible to do. I mean, the other way of doing it is just do a little bit of a grind on the 56. You just need to smooth that peak of the ridge off a little bit. then that's certainly possible as well. But the 58, you're going wider, therefore the peak of the bounce is further back, therefore the bounce plays effectively a little bit stronger. So it may be just a little grind on the 56 is the way to go.
Very good. Just looking on the chat here, and I definitely need a haircut. Shannon Eva, good evening, gents. Great show. I do, don't I? I need a haircut.
I got one tomorrow.
Yeah, I've got one tomorrow as well. You wait until next Monday. We're going to be sporting a couple of cracking haircuts.
Number one. So going for the undercut, or?
I don't know.
Or the Henry Pollock with the red tail on the back.
I just hope they can sort my grey hair out. Shannon Eva, good. How come James has not got, and you? Why have you two not got any grey hair?
I don't have children.
Well, I don't have children. Well, I've got a hound.
Good point, you go.
I've got a hound.
We're not as considered looking as you.
Right, yeah. Grey jeans.
Grey jeans, yeah.
Shannon Eva, let us know if why they haven't got grey hair and I have. Let us know.
You must be highly strung.
Actually, mate, yeah, I think I am. I'm definitely highly strung. Shannon Eva, I'll get to yours, Shannon Eva. Good evening, gents. Good evening, Shannon Eva. Great show, thank you. Could you hit and compare the Titleist GT13 Tour against the Ping G440 MY and the TM QI35 Core 3 fairway wood in terms of size and address, ball, spin and speed? Thanks.
Right. So the GT1 Tour, the Ping 440, LST or the Max?
One that's highlighted.
I would have thought Max. Okay. Okay.
Yep. Ian Linfoot 2563. Hi. Do you have any tips to prevent loss of head height and dipping in the downswing? Yes, I do. Ian, for you, I have an abundance. So first things first, get the club in. If you're a right-handed golfer, i.e. standing to the left of the ball, take your club in your trail hand and get yourself a bag towel. Let me just take this off of Simon's bag here. Let me just do that. Take the bag towel. Lucky he's got just a long enough one. Take the bag towel in your lead hand and stick it up into your chest and take your trail hand. And then what I want you to do is make some back swings and stretch the towel and hit the floor. And when you do that, as soon as you start dipping your head, you'll whack the ground right the way back here, because now all of a sudden you've made the radius of the golf swing wider. Now you can feel like your legs push up more against the length of the towel, and you will stay tall forever. Once you've done that a few times, take the golf club again back in your trail hand, take your lead hand and pop it under your right elbow. Make some swings, feeling how your right arm can now stay long, which will take some of the set away, which will now make you feel like you've got to be way taller or else you'll hit it way too early. People only dip their heads when the club gets too narrow with their trail hand, and then you have to get yourself right the way down here. Morgan Pressel was a huge dipper, and of course Lexi Thompson.
Joachim Neiman.
Yeah, Joachim Neiman's got a big one again, a big loader of the golf club on the way down. So really it's just downloading the golf club in your downswing that causes that, and then you get a few iffy ones, and then your knees start going, and before you know it, it's knees bend, rah, rah, rah.
Very nice. Yeah. Joachim, yeah. Joachim, right.
Joachim.
Right.
Bless you.
GT1 Tour. So it's comparing ball flight and look down at the address. So GT1 Tour is the biggest of the three heads. It's a slightly more kind of, it's just relative to fairway wood, sort of a mid or an oversized, depending on what you want to call it. GT1's are designed with a bit of a bigger frame for higher flight. So the GT1 Tour technically is like a 14.5 degree, but they actually measure more than they state. So this is actually a 15-degree head. So definitely good for a picker of the ball. Frame-wise, it's got a flatter sole than Titleist have had in the past, so it seats nicely behind the ball.
I went out with a girl that had a flatter sole.
What, no arches? So, fairly kind of mid-launch, mid-spin, quite forgiving. And actually for Titleist fairways, the GT2, if you get low on the face, spins a bit more. This one picks it up a little bit better off the deck. I'm going to rattle through these two. I'm going to go 430 max next. So 430 max is has the shallowest face of the three. I can track things around. Always been really, really good for someone who picks it off the ground, but lower spin than they've been in the past. So generally speaking, stronger most of the time in the past. This screw isn't behaving itself. These have been good for retaining a bit of flight and spin, which actually the GT1's very good for. But for this one, we should see possibly a little bit more launch, but should see quite a strong spin profile. You've got the white paint on the face, which actually frames the ball really nicely.
Oh my God, my sister's watching.
Collects it quite well. I got that a bit heely, so it spun it. But very, very forgiving. You're good at creating a little bit of launch. That probably doesn't quite represent the spin that we see out of this regularly, but I'm going to crack on through. We generally would see this the same or a little bit lower spin than the GT1 Tour. And then going into the tailor-made head, I would say the Titleist and the Ping are quite similar in terms of the type of golf that they suit. Because of that lower CG. The tailor-made weight does sit a little bit further forward. We've had great results with this year, but generally suits someone who traps it a little bit more, sits up behind the ball slightly more. I think it's a great head shape actually overall. They've done a really good job with this.
That's a good looking head, isn't it? Oh, did you mean to get it out of that lie?
Yeah, yeah. So as to display, you can generally suit someone, I've got that toe that goes down to get it a little bit more. But equally speaking, where tailor-made heads in the past haven't been great for someone who picks it, this one, if I shallow it off, this one is better. So, but will be lower spin than the other two. So if you're a low spin player, this probably isn't the best head, and I would go into the GT1 or the Ping. If you're a high spin player that squeezes it, good head.
That's a good looking club head, isn't it?
Done a very, very, very good job with this. We've done tons of these.
That is chocolate of the sexual nature.
Yeah.
That is lovely, isn't it?
And it's nice and subtle, but the line on the top of the face frames the ball and helps alignment a little bit.
Superb. My sister's been on. All we need is Gary Satterfield now to come in, and it's going to be all disarray.
Yeah. Well, you know who's looking on next, then, don't you?
Yeah. So we've got. We've done that one. Kevin. Kevin has asked, hope you are both well. Thank you, Kevin. Nice to have you with us.
Very well, thank you, yeah.
Stu, if I want to hit just a 50% shot with a pitching wedge, would I still be trying to lay the club off? Good question. Good question. It's a bit like when you see people do cross-handed pitching. You know, at what point do you go from a chip to a pitch to a full shot, right? So what you want to do, Kevin, is if you take your golf club into your backswing and take it to the length that you feel is correct for the 50% of the 50% shot, it's really where that club head is in space relative to the butt of the grip. You know, the shorter the swing, the more the club is going to stay more on top of the butt of the club. And then, as you know, because everyone passes, in an ideal world, passes through the grip, and as they lift it up, then the club head starts to fall back. So it really depends on how much you're making of the backswing. But if it's only 50%, I really wouldn't get too much external rotation of your right arm, which lays that club. It's going to probably end up somewhere more on top. But if you were to make a 50% backswing, and everyone's different, some people have got longer backswings and shorter backswings, but just make half a backswing to where you feel is the right amount of energy and just work it out. Send me a picture if you like, but you shouldn't really have too much layoff for only a 50%er. Hopefully that helps. Difficult to be absolutely on point with that because I can't quite see you. But if you send me a video of your swing, Kevin, I can let you know. I'm definitely going to need glasses soon. I'm definitely going to need glasses soon, man.
I can make the text bigger properly.
Yeah, we can do that on the iPads, can't we? Lil Big 73, fellas, happy Monday to you. Can you test, and by test I mean Stuart hit the Callaway Elite driver in the 24 Ventus Blue and compare it against the TR Blue or OG Ventus? Any noticeable differences in numbers? Well, look, do you really want me to test? He's firing. I haven't hit any balls. Yeah. Let him hit him.
Is it just the standard elite? I guess was the
standard elite. Standard elite. Why does he want me to hit them? I like to just be the one that asks the questions. He does all the hitting. He's been playing. Do you know, it's just not my gig, that hitting balls. Do you know, I do that all in my YouTube videos and in client lessons. Happily, no problem. Mark Sweep, 5828, got fitted for a Cobra DS Adapt in May, and I'm struggling not to thin it. Fitted with the Denali Black 60 6-point S. Would a Denali Blue in the same spec be any better?
No.
See, that's the kind of answers.
No, because if it's causing a thin, then the only way it's going to be.
You're small as well.
I believe medium. Cadet medium is my normal.
Ooh, cadet.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Have you got loads of loft on that? Because I need loads.
Oh no, you are hitting it. So I got the lower loft base.
Well, I mean, we've got both heads, haven't we?
Yeah.
Well, we can both hit it.
So ultimately, if the only way it's going to help is if the weight distribution suits better and gets you down to the ball better. So the shaft on its own, in terms of the way it bends or being softer or something like that, isn't going to make the blindest bit of difference to whether you're thinning it or not. But it sounds like if it's creating that kind of contact, then it sounds like it's a bit more than just a model switch within the same series that's going to make a difference.
I'm hitting some because I can't be hitting drivers flat out cold. How many balls did you hit earlier, Simon? Come on.
I hit about 15 just because I've been stood in here all day.
Yeah. Fair dues. We'll get these being made up for us. Oh goodness, we've got a lot of questions in. Simon Langford, evening guys. Evening Simon, thanks as ever for all the information you provide. You are super welcome. If you're new, we do this every Monday night, 6 p.m. Give it a like and a share. What would be the difference in distance in the winter between a brand new Pro V1 and Pro V and one that was 3 rounds old? Oh, good question.
Very little, realistically. I think you're likely to see a little bit of flight consistency degradation, but ultimately I would say absolute maximum would be is half a club.
Half a club, yeah.
Absolute maximum.
This is the very first that we've had someone request me test this out. Let's not make this a habit.
So this is the current.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the current Ventus Blue, which is a sort of a smoother balanced profile. Actually suits you more than the original. Original Ventus we can't get anymore, so we don't have on the wall because they've stopped producing. So, whereas original Ventus with Stuart probably be a little bottom end heavy and get a little bit stuck. This is a 10.5 degree elite head. So still got the Velocore material in the tip, Velocore Plus, really stable in the tip. Yeah, 66 grams.
That doesn't feel too bad, that. Feels all right.
Yeah, let me switch you to the TR. So the TR, there will be a replacement of next year. So a Velocore Plus version, I would imagine. But the principle of the TR is that there's a weave in the butt section that stiffens the butt up. Actually pulls the bounce point up the shaft a little bit as well. That kind of makes it more like a kind of in theory, like an S plus. In theory, it's slightly lower spin than the standard Ventus series.
Is this heavier or lighter than the other one?
It's a couple of grams heavier. In the pickup, but it shouldn't be heavier in the bottom end. It should be more kind of upper mid. So kind of the handle end should swing a little heavier.
Oh, that feels completely different. That feels completely different. Wow. The bottom edge, that one. So this is different at the top half?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So still very stout at the bottom, but it's going to be noticeably a little bit more stable in the handle end.
Yeah, I mean, that's like so different.
Yeah, and it's a couple of grams heavier as well.
Wow.
So, yeah. And so for someone who's a low spin player already.
Yeah, not ideal.
And also if you take a head like the Callaway heads for you, if you get it slightly up the face, it knuckles the spin off a little bit more than some. So Yeah. But where that gets a little heavier, it starts to get a little chasey.
But that shaft felt much nicer than the other one.
So there you go.
There you go. Let's not do that again. That's way too much energy for a Monday evening. After being here from 6:30 this morning. Oh God! Well, I don't know why. I don't like it when it does that. Right, there we go. We're back. Questions. Back under control. Back under control. Mark Sweet, we've answered. Simon Langford, we answered. Papa B, 3272. Hello, young men. Are there easy ways to tell when your iron shafts are too stiff or too heavy? You're the best.
So very kind. Stiffness-wise, hard to tell. They might just feel a little bit firm, a little bit harsh. But actually, if a club gets heavy, then what tends to happen is that one, your best shots are really good, but then the drop off in performance, if you slightly miss one, tends to drop back. So you'll tend to find the difference between a really good and a slight miss is actually quite big. But if they start to get heavy, too heavy, essentially, as you start down, the club doesn't come with you, so it ends up getting a little behind, and you'll end up having to kind of chase it or come out of it. You like to lose posture. So if the club's a good weight, then you can stay nice and stable and just turn, collect it, stay really balanced. If it gets heavy, then ultimately, so it's like chaining it to the wall. You go, club doesn't come with you, so you end up having to kind of catapult it and fetch it. So you're likely to feel less grounded, less balanced. Chances are you'll catch it a little bit, more likely to catch it slightly ground ball, but it's going to feel like you have to kind of fetch the club through, and only your best hits will get a good result. If it gets too light, then you have to back off it to get the best out of it. So heavy just means having to work hard to get the best.
Davey G1102, hi Davey G1102. What is the EI profile of the MMT Hybrid 100TX like, and could you hit a couple of shots each with it versus the KBS Proto Hybrid 105X in the 19-degree King Tech Hybrid?
So that we can't, because we haven't chosen to bring in that shaft in the MMT series. Simply, there's only so much we can carry. But the MMTs, MMT stands for metal mesh technology. Oh, right. And so that's a kind of material that just tries to stop the shaft overling. But EI profile, so that's actually the stiffness profile from the butt of the shaft down to the tip. So it has a fairly, it's sort of hard to describe, you have to almost sort of draw the graph. But it's actually fairly stable through the upper midsection. You get a little bit of responsiveness through kind of mid to lower, and then stable in the tip. So it's designed to have a little bit of kick, but not kind of soft right at the bottom end. But in terms of, obviously, because we haven't got the 105TX or the MMT hybrids on our system, we've chosen not to carry those so far this year just because of actual versatility. I can't do that direct comparison for you, and so there's MMT is being replaced. There's a sort of secondary model potentially coming. So rather than just hitting the KBS prototype without comparison, that's not really very helpful. But the Proto is a structurally very, very stable shaft and definitely suits more of a hitter. It's more of an iron player shaft. But obviously I can't give that comparison for you, I'm afraid.
Ian Linfoot, is there any 2026 equipment currently under embargo that you have already seen that you are genuinely excited about? Any game changers, or are we taking marginal gains?
Is there anything that I've seen that is quite exciting? Yes. But I'm not allowed to say anything. It's woods. So there's a range of drivers coming that feel like is definitely a step forward from one brand. And I've seen a couple of iron heads that we really quite like, but there's an awful lot still to come. Ultimately, we're at the point where it can't be massive step change because they're all doing a really good job with, effectively the kind of the physics and the geometry of where you put weight within the heads and performances. Especially the last couple of years, the product's been really good. So it is incremental gains, but I think stability across the face. One, the brand's got a bit more feel back into some of their irons. Which I think we'll do well with, but it is small gains for sure.
Mblas 4964. And hello, gentlemen. Any chance in the future you'll be selling Precision Golf apparel? Would love to be sporting a PG quarter zip here in Los Angeles.
Oh, it's very kind of you. It's something that we've certainly looked at and looking at for next year and what and how we do it. So it's something that as and when we do it, it will go on the socials and things. But yeah, definitely something we're actively looking at, but we will have more of a catch up with Emily, who's doing our marketing, probably tomorrow or Wednesday, and discuss as soon as you brought it up.
David Smith, 43.54. Hi guys, have problems hitting 3-wood off the deck, have a slower swing speed. Would it be worth trying out the GT1 or switching to a 5-wood?
So there are two elements to it. One would be if a 3-wood gives you, as you've alluded to there with the 5-wood question, are you getting enough ball flight out of it? And as a result, is that making you almost have to help it in the air? Not something you want to be doing. We're doing an awful lot more 4-woods or 5-woods as the first fairway wood. So if you are a lower speed player, getting it up in the air and getting height on it is really, really critical. So certainly experiment with a 5-wood. And then technique-wise, if you're hitting up on it and also scooping it a bit, that will lead to less consistent strike. So there is an angle of attack kind of low point element to technique that if that's in the wrong place, it will massively hamper your fairway wood performance.
Matt M85, hi chaps, question for Stu. Any drills to help not hit up on the ball with driver as much? Currently, I'm 6 up, been told I want to reduce and get the most out of the club. Yeah, there's a few ways you can reduce angle of attack up. First of all, and the simplest one is ball position. Ball position being too far forwards can encourage more angle of attack up. The more you move the ball back in your stance, the more you'll hit down. The trouble you've got when you're hitting more down on a driver, if your ball flight is already straight, so you're hitting it straight and now you're going to hit more down on the ball, that is going to make your face more open. So you've got to offset more down with a more closed club face. How you go about that? Well, I don't know your game, but I would embark on hitting more down at your peril. If you're already very straight and you want to optimize the club, question to you, Simon, he's 6 up. Could you build a club around someone at 6 up?
Yeah, you can do, yeah.
So therefore, leave, if that thing's going straight and you're 6 up, leave well alone.
Yeah, and the only practical consideration from a club fitting point of view would be at 6 up, you can get knuckly ones.
Yeah.
And there's only so low you can go in loft to stop it launching very high. But having said that, can you build a driver for it? Absolutely.
Yeah. So that would be 2 caveats. Another one would be take the golf club in your right hand and then just start to feel how you can pull the club. So just take the right arm and the club shaft all in one line, move the grip towards the target, open yourself up, keep pulling on the club, and you can start to see how you would create a bit more angle of attack. That's the sensation that you need to have through strike to create more of an angle of attack down. The one that you've got is shoulders sat back more and clubs overtaking. Complete polar opposite to this one here. So again, a little drill like that and grip the club really, really light and pull it as hard as you can. That'll help you load the shaft on the way down. But if you're hitting it straight and you're looking to just snip down 3 degrees of angle of attack, I would be really careful. Go and see someone like Simon, get fitted and maybe tweak your driver. But I think for someone to say, to get more out of your club, you need to change your swing, change the club, not change the swing, I would go.
Yeah, as you say, it's so dependent on, if you're rope picking it from 6 degrees up, okay, fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, if
it's going straight,
lasering it.
Yeah, leave well alone. Hope that helped. Suzanne 6690, aka my sister. Wise owls are grey and it's genetic. Our parents were both grey at 25, so we had no chance, Stu. On the upside, I've got a thick head of hair. Think I've got your share too. Well, that's Andy. That's Andy, hopefully. Well, I've had a few people do some overhead shots in my bay upstairs in the channel. And a pal of mine freeze framed it, screenshot it and sent it to me, my bald patch. I've got a little bit of a bald thing going on.
Send you a bit of a powder spray.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Dangerous things that overhead use.
Yeah. Lee Roberts 3087, keep up the good work. Stu, thanks for the lesson last week. Looking forward to a winter of work on the swing. Look forward to it too, Lee. Good luck with that. Nice to see you. Lee Roberts also said, good to have a quick catch up with Simon also. big thumbs up. Suzanne sent laughing emojis. Nick Sobe, do you typically have more success fitting lower loft irons with responsive tip shafts or traditional lofted irons with tip stable shafts? Do both setups get you to the same place?
Absolutely not. They don't get you to the same place at all. The concept of a tip soft shaft and a tip stiff shaft creating that much difference in launch and spin is complete baloney. It doesn't do it. You're not getting enough bend on a shaft to significantly change launch and spin. You will get a certain amount of change out of it, but it's pretty small. If you've got a low loft head and a high loft head, the high loft head's going to launch high and spin more, and the low loft head's going to launch lower and spin less, no matter what shaft you put in it, because the head and the technique will override anything the shaft can do. So you get the best results from fitting the right weight and balance of shaft to get someone sinking up. Then you get consistent contact, then you get consistent direction, you get efficient ball speed, and then you match the head for the launch and the spin that you need for that player. You would always use the head to fine tune that, because ultimately, if you get the shaft right, that sorts dispersion, then your natural flight pattern, you can then use the head to either bring it down a bit or lift it up a little bit. But the shaft's only going to really fine tune that, and you don't want to compromise consistent timing and strike because you think you need a softer tip or a stiff tip shaft. The head will do 100 times as much as the shaft could for that.
Yoon Evek, no. That's an interesting handle. Playing a QI10 core woods, unbelievable performance. Heads won't last forever, and new models adjustable adapters. You find adapters perform differently than bonded lie angles that important with woods?
So is lie that important with woods? Yes and no, and I'll caveat that by saying, in the same way as irons, lie will kind of, start that one again. With irons, you use lie to help kind of gear shot shape and to kind of soften a shot shape a little bit. But because you're hitting down into the turf and taking a divot, there can be a little bit more of an impact on that shot shape. But also you've got more loft. The more loft you have, the more gearing you have on it, the more directional effect that lie has. So a putter at 2 degrees of loft, lie, you can go 7 degrees upright or flat and you're not going to change the start line. So it's less start line and gearing shape from lie, but a lot of players, if I can borrow that, where fairway woods are quite long, then they can start to sit quite toe up. I don't know if I'm far enough back to see that. So if you get, obviously this is a driver, but this is the same principle. If the club's long, the toes up, you're presenting the weakest bit of the club head, the heel, low heel to the ball. So actually getting a fairway wood that the lie can sit fairly flat, that will help you get the strike up the face into the middle a bit more easily, so it does affect that. And then in terms of bonded versus an adapter in terms of performance, is there any change? The shaft isn't moving and the head's not moving on the shaft, therefore no. The pros like bonded because it's a cleaner, simpler look, but ultimately there is no negative impact on performance from a bonded head as long as that screw is nice and tight.
Stu Brister, 1987. Evening, gents. With the weather changing and the wind picking up around here, can you advise on drills to hit low wedge shots? P.S. Strong trouser game this week, Simon. Loving the colour.
Thank you very much. We nearly kind of had, if I'd gone burgundy, it would have been mirroring.
That would have been a hell of a mess on the TV. Look, I think if you're looking to hit low wedge shots, just take more club head, it's softer. You know, get good at that, terrible English, but become good at softer shots with less loft. That would be way easier than starting to take spin off of it and hit it in low and all that kind of stuff. That's what the best players in the world do. They just don't hit, in the wind. They don't suddenly drop a wedge back and push it in. They just take more loft, less loft and hit it softer. That's the way to go. It wins every single time.
Especially with the soft ground we get here, you're just going to faffle trying to get steeper on it.
Exactly. Yeah. The first cut, my Ping S159 50 degree is worn out. Thinking of picking up an SM10. Should I go 8 or 12 degrees bounce of match?
So Pings have generally had a little bit more bounce on the soles
to match the Ping
over the years. So Ultimately, it also depends a bit on the turf you have and how strong your delivery is as to what I'd recommend. But in theory, with ping being slightly stronger on bounce, you could go the 12. So there are other elements to it, but if you're wanting to mimic the higher bounce of ping irons, then yeah, the 12 would more closely match. Yes.
Sweating Merlot 5415.
Wonder where you're going with that one.
Sweating Merlot 5415. Hi guys, could you compare the Tour AD VF stiff versus a Ventus Black stiff in a QI 35 fairway wood, please? Or just explain the potential differences?
I'll grab them and I'll do both.
He loves to hit. He loves to hit.
What head was it in? Was it in a QI 35?
It's a QI, 1 second. It was in. There you go. Couldn't find the question. Oh, we've got a question in from Horse Racing Legends we've not seen for ages. Where have you been? Nice to have you with us. Doug's in the house. Simon's just off to get some bits and bobs, see if there's any question directly for me I could answer while he's gone. No, none for me. All for Simon. Fair enough.
Right.
Don't want to listen to me.
In the QI 35 fairway?
Yep.
Right. So between the two shafts, actually very, very similar from a design principle point of view. They're both tip stiff, both designed to bring flight down and spin down. I would say VF is closer to original series Ventus Black. The Velocore Plus is a little bit of a smoother profile. I don't think it feels quite as hard and quite as stiff. But in theory, both low spin profiles and relatively tip balanced. But in that respect, the VF is definitely swings a little bit more head heavy. Both are going to stand up to being hit fairly strongly. So this one's the obviously the Velocore Black. So out the Velocore Black, you get a little bit of give through that midsection, but then very stable at the bottom. So this is the 7 stiffs in both I'm comparing. So you do get a bit of feedback from it, but nice and tight down the bottom end. It's not, I said first gen, the original series Ventus probably could feel quite hard in a fairway wood in the Black series, whereas that's actually still got a bit of response. Going into the VF in the 7 and the stiff, this does swing a little bit more bottom end heavy. There's a bit more guts in the bottom end here, and for graphite design, this is the most stable, structurally rigid shaft they've done for a very long time. You can definitely feel the bounce down the bottom end a little bit more, therefore it kind of feels like it needs a bit more of a hit. But it's a little tighter, a little bit tighter, more tight than the Black. You still get a little bit back through the middle, but the Velocore Black, Velocore Plus Black, you feel give and go a little bit more. This is just a little bit tighter all the way through and swings slightly more tip heavy, but both very stable shafts.
Very good. Chat's just disappeared. Here she comes back again. Where are we up to? That one there. North Cornwall Linen 8847. There was a lot of L's there. Yeah. Evening, guys. I went from 2018 AP1s PX 6.0 shaft to 2024 Apex Pro with a DG 115 mid stiff shaft. New irons, more consistent, but every shot low and out the toe. Any thoughts, Simon? Greatly appreciated.
So the DG 115 is 115 grams. Swings quite head heavy. I think what you're going to find there is that with the Apex Pro heads on, they will tend to swing quite relatively bottom end heavy. But the dead weight's lighter, whereas the AP1 with the Project 6.0,
yes,
5 grams heavier, but a slightly more even weighting. So just in terms of how you and the club are interacting, if you're getting it low on the head and a bit out the toe, then it sounds like you and the club are a little bit out of sync. In principle, the Apex Pro's slightly less forgiving than that AP1. and maybe a little less tungsten in the toe, so you might notice a toe strike a little bit more. But the DG mid definitely say gets the mass down the bottom end of the club and can get a little bit laggy, particularly with the Callaway head on. They tend to be slightly heavier, so chances are the swing weight might be quite heavy on that, and that could be impacting.
Mid HC, it could be mid handicap 50-72. 50 years old and past 72 anyway. If you've been fitted for irons, is it worth getting the fitting rechecked after 5 years or so, particularly as a senior golfer?
Yeah, after 5 years or so, absolutely. I think there's one, depending on the head's loft lie can move a little bit, but obviously as humans we develop over time. And yeah, it might be that a small change in 5 years, if you've had an injury, if you've got a little, it's like a youngster getting older and stronger. If you're getting into your 50s, I'm assuming that if I'm remembering right with that, then you might be actually weakening a little bit and actually just checking, are you having to work a bit harder than you need to get the best out of them? Or actually they're still absolutely fine, but then you have that peace of mind. But after 5 years, yeah, I think a checkup is definitely worth doing.
Doug asks, good old Doug, nice to have you with us, Doug. Simon, what is your typical angle of attack? It appears to be quite light. Is that the result of hitting a lot of shots off the mat?
No, I used to be pretty steep, but I used to be more lateral and then have to hack down it to not hook it. So it has softened off a little bit over the years. I still get kind of 3.5, 4 degrees down on between 3 and 4 on my 6-iron. I can get pretty steep in a wedge given half a chance, but that's more technique issues than desire. But yeah, I used to be steeper, but so I used to be more, as Stu showed earlier with one of them, I used to get kind of lateral and have to chuck the handle forward to stop it starting left and going left. So I used to get pretty steep, kind of 6 degrees down. I'm now 3.5, 4 on average with a 6-iron.
Max Holiday 6851. Any chance of setting something up north? I don't know of any fitters as knowledgeable or thorough as yourselves around Yorkshire.
Very kind to ask. Currently not on the radar. There's still an awful lot we can do here. Certainly never saying never, but it's certainly not in the short to mid-term plans, I'm afraid.
Josh.
But we aren't that far away.
Yeah. Jump on the train. Let the train take the strain. That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago. British Rail. Josh Gunton, 2094. Evening, Josh.
Good evening.
When would you suggest shortening club length, and what is the effect of doing so?
So, take out kind of physical kind of posture and stature and height, because that would be a given that you're trying to make sure that if clubs are too long, then it's going to throw your posture off. So if you're of a lesser stature, then you'd go a little bit shorter there. If someone struggles with ball striking, more often not going a little bit shorter, there's just less club to have to get back to the ball, and that can often help declutter a little bit, and particularly with driver. They will often go shorter on driver, fairway woods, to get better contact. The thing to think about is what it does to the balance of the club. So a lot of people ask about, does it change flex? Does it make the shaft stiffer? Technically, it does a fraction, but not enough to make any difference to performance. But what you do have to do is you generally have to make the head a little heavier so you don't lose feel for the club head. That also then redresses the stiffness of the shaft getting a little bit stronger. But yeah, you definitely need to be conscious of what the head weight is and how it swings, so that if you take an inch off, you're going to lose 5 or 6 swing weight points. You've lost the equivalent of 10 grams on the head. Now, you wouldn't add the 10 grams back on, but you probably put 5 or 6 back on. So being conscious of what it does to swing weight and your timing and sensation of the club head in the swing, that is something that needs considering when you're shortening.
Matt M85, follow up on the hitting of the driver up. Mark fitted me with the Elite head with a Tour ADXC shaft. My missus left with hitting up. Yeah, okay, so that's good news. So apply those drills, you'll hit more down, and that'll straighten your face to path up, and that will really help you. And in the process of doing that, you could even work on hitting it a bit more out the heel. In the interim, when you're encouraging yourself to hit more down, because that will offset the bend to the left. Because when the ball bends to the left, that's what causes players to get from the inside and hit up on it. Now, what you can do to mask the bending to the left in the interim of getting too much hook, is try and work on hitting it out the heel. I know this sounds a little bit weird, but it's another way to go. Hit it more out the heel and you'll increase the bend to the right. Once you then start to see a bit more bend to the right, you will find it easier to swing a bit more outside in, down and left, which will then start to increase or make you hit more down on the golf ball. Then once you've done that, go back to hitting it out the middle and things should line back up. The trouble is hitting down and more left, which is invariably what you need to do to offset or increase more of an angle of attack, is so difficult to do when someone hits it left, because swinging down and left, if your ball's going over here anyway, you want to swing more from the inside. So it's definitely put the ball a bit further back in your stance. Definitely try and hit it a bit more out the heel. And definitely, if you drop it back in your stance and they start flaring out to the right, aim a bit more left. Get comfortable in seeing that ball bend left to right. That's what you need to see first, the ball bend left to right first. There's a few ways of doing it.
And you probably want to just make sure you tee it a little lower as well.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll be refinishing the crown.
Yeah. Yeah. Goodness me. It's doing it again.
Oh.
Hold that thought, everyone. We're getting there. And we're back.
There we go.
We're back. So NAF1154, hey from Malaysia. Need your opinion for the Carly.
Later Malaysia.
Yeah, for Carly Blue 60S driver, thank you.
So the first
he says, need your opinion for Carly Blue 60S driver shaft.
So, I mean, opinion-wise, I don't know quite what you want me to say, other than Kylie Blue is a blue board profile. So any blue Mitsubishi series shaft is based on a really consistent even bend profile. The Kylie series is more of their kind of entry-level model, where it's something that a lot of the brands are using as a stock option. It's a fairly smooth profile. The Kylie's not overly harsh. It's a pretty kind of neutral overall shaft. Outside of that, because I don't really have the context of what opinion you want me to give on it, but yeah, it's a pretty smooth, inoffensive, solid entry-level shaft.
Horse Racing Legends asks, good evening, great show, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm a blade guy, but really struggling with saturated grass here in Glasgow. Any suggestions? Yeah, increase your angle of attack. Increase your angle of attack will help you hit a bit more down and cut through wet grass. Give that a try. And you can check out angle of attack tips on my YouTube channel to help you with that. Maka09, hi guys, could Simon compare spin rates with the T150 versus the P770 with graphite shafts, please?
I'll be very quick with that.
We've got 3 minutes. Mid HC 5072, nearer 70 years old and not 50. Well, you're doing well. Tom T 2385. Hi Simon. Wow. Could you please share your top selling combo sets?
Strixon ZX05 and ZX07 would definitely be one, and then the other ones would probably be we're doing less with tightness because of the progression in the T100 sets, but historically it's been like a T100 into a T250 at the top end, or T150 to T250.
Very good, very good. And we
P770, P790, that's also one we've done as well.
We will, yeah.
Right.
That's pretty much covered all of the suggestions that he put in his little question there, because he went on to say, was it the 770s, 790s, ZXI 7s and 5s, and T150s and 250s, etc.
Yeah, I think they all visually blend quite well as well. Probably the one that doesn't necessarily quite fit as well with that is a 790, 770. The 790s, because the loft gets a lot stronger, it gets pretty low spin, so that can actually lose some of the benefit in the long run. So T150 here, we've got, so from a head point of view, it's been very kind of mid. That was a little lower on the face, it spun a little bit, but slightly on the stronger side from a spin point of view, but it tends to keep the flight relatively strong. The one thing that I would expect to see out of the P770, if I can get this head off and get that back on, is a different launch. So one of the things, if you're a picker, the 770 is a fantastic head, very good low on the face. But what we've tended to see with the 770, where is that launch, 16, is exactly that, where launch angle goes up. So 4 degrees angle of attack on both of those. One's at 16 and a bit, one's at 17.6. So the 770, if you want to get a bit more elevation, great head. If you want to bring the top of the flight down, then the T150 is your option.
And Mark Sweep is going to sign us out the show. Do we offer loft and lie checks as well as fitting clubs?
The loft lie, we would sort of cover it in a gapping, make sure that the distances through the set are good, and then do the loft and lies at the same time.
And that's it. We've done the hour. We've answered lots of questions. We do this every week. We will be back next week.
We will not be back next week.
Is that right?
James is away.
Oh my goodness.
So James is away next week, and I'm not sure, depending on what time he lands back the following Monday. Yeah, we'll be back the following Monday. So James is off on a trip to
he's Mauritius, isn't he?
sunnier climes.
Oh yes, Mauritius.
So we won't be here next week.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the old work trip in Mauritius, playing golf every day. Yeah, looking after clients. Got it. Right.
We'll be back on the 17th.
Yeah. Well, thank you ever so much. Well, I know what he's doing. Barney's going to be doing agility and eating biscuits. Any golf this week for you?
Yeah, we got a captain's driving on Sunday and a foursomes comp.
Have you ever been thought of captain?
Way too young and work full time for that. So
yeah. Thankless task, that being a captain.
Busy year.
Well, thank you so much for being with us. We will be back in 2 Mondays' time. Make sure you store up all of those questions for us. We will be gladly answering them in 2 weeks' time. Have a great couple of weeks. Enjoy any golf you're playing. And thanks for watching. See you next time.